This is an onion, and this is a shallot. These two are actually related to each other. They're in the same family, kind of like two brothers, but they're also quite different. You're probably already familiar with one of these, a basic onion, but a shallot, maybe you're less familiar with. Well, by the end of this video, you'll know 5 reasons how this is different from this, and most of all, when and why to use one of these. Hello and welcome to I Want to Cook. My name is Chef Matt and this channel is all about helping you be a better cook. And yes, today we are talking shallots. You've probably seen these in the store. They're usually next to the onions, and maybe you've always wondered, like, what's up with these things? And you've been curious because you've maybe never bought one. Well, after today, you might just be buying and using one of these. So let's get to 5 reasons of how these are different, although they are within the same family of onions. So the first difference is in size. As you can see, this is an onion and this is a shallot. A shallot is usually about maybe a quarter the size of an onion. They're just a lot smaller. And this is just like a regular small to medium onion. If you're talking about a bigger onion, then these would be even smaller. Now the second difference, and probably the biggest reason why you would buy a shallot over an onion, is in flavor. As you probably know, onions can be pretty strong. Sometimes they can make you cry while you're cutting them. Well, a shallot is milder. It still tastes like an onion, but it's just milder. It's just less intense. If an onion makes you cry, then, cutting up a shallot, well, maybe it'll just get you a little misty-eyed. By the way, side note, I was at a kitchen store the other day and I saw something called onion goggles. Now, I have not tried these. I don't know if they work or not, but apparently if you are the type who is really sensitive when you're cutting up onions and you cry a lot, well, apparently there is a product that can possibly help you out there. See, there's a solution for everything. Difference number 3 between these two is in price, and simply put, shallots are just usually more expensive. At least that's the case here in America. If you're watching this video from elsewhere and shallots are cheap, let me know because I'm curious. But here in America, shallots are quite a bit more expensive than onions, especially when you consider, how much less you're getting. Where I shop, shallots are about $4 a pound, whereas an onion, you can get for about 99 cents a pound. So about 4 times more expensive for a shallot than an onion, at least where I shop. Difference number 4 between these guys is in variety. Now, as you probably know, there's a lot of different types of onions. There's white, yellow, red onions, there's sweet onions, there's a lot of different varieties. And there are a few different varieties of shallots as well, but not nearly as many, especially, in the store. Whereas you might see several varieties of onions right there in a row, usually there's just one type of shallot, and it usually looks like this. It's kind of got this, brown papery skin, similar to a brown onion. By the way, is it just me, or does a shallot not look like, well, to me it looks like a clove of garlic and an onion got together and had a baby. And lastly, number 5 comes to usage. In reality, you can use these in the same manner. You can use a shallot the same way that you can use an onion. Basically, you would just use a shallot when you really wanted a milder flavor. If you remember on my last video, we made some wonderful pan-seared scallops, and then we made a butter wine sauce, and I used some shallots. And the reason I use shallots is because I just wanted a milder flavor. I didn't want the harshness and kind of that intensity of the onion in that wine sauce. I just wanted something that was flavorful, but not too strong. Well, you can use a shallot in a nice sauce like that. It's really famous in a béarnaise sauce. You can also use it if you are making rice pilaf. That's a wonderful application where it just kind of gives that background flavor. These are also great in vinaigrettes. They just, again, add that nice flavor, but they're not too strong. If you don't like onions just because they're so strong, then try a shallot. I also like shallots because, well, it just feels more fancy. Yes, they're pricier and they're more exclusive, but you know, everybody uses onions, but if you say you're using shallots, wow, that makes you sound special. So shallots can be used raw, they can be used cooked. These are really great roasted. Again, pretty much any application where you would be using an onion, you can use a shallot. Now I'm going to cut one of these open and kind of give you a close-up of what this is all about and my best practices for cutting them. Now cutting one of these up isn't too different from cutting an onion. You know, it has that same kind of parchment type paper. You would just kind of cut that off and then cut it up. One tip I want to give you though is when cutting an onion, you'd probably use something like this, a large chef's knife. Well, this might just be a little too big for something as small as this. You can certainly use it, but it's just a little more manageable if you use a smaller like paring knife, just like this. So here's what I like to do. You know, I like to just cut off each end, just like this. And as you can see, there's actually two parts here. There's a part here and a part here. Now, if you read a recipe that calls for using one shallot, well, it will be this whole shallot, these two parts, this and this. But what I like to do, just for simplicity, is I like to cut them in half. And this helps getting that kind of that skin off, just like you would with an onion. We'll just pull this off, just like that. And then if you saw my video on how to cut up an onion, well, this is gonna look very familiar. Basically, what you would do is you would just hold this right here. First thing we're going to do is make some slices that are horizontal. Then we'll make some vertical slices just like this. And then just cut like this. And you have these nice little shallot pieces. And now this is what you would do if you wanted to use finely diced shallot. You can also cut them into rings. There's a lot of different ways you can cut them just like an onion. But for a diced shallot, just use that method and you'll have these tiny little pieces of shallot. See, milder. It's onion, but just less onion. So there you go, Shallot 101. Hopefully this takes some of the mystery out of these things. And hey, maybe next time you're in the produce aisle and you're grabbing an onion, well, get one of these too. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Do you like the flavor of shallots? As always, thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Welcome to my kitchen. I am so glad that you are here. Until next time, I hope you want to cook.